The United Kingdom exerts considerable economic, political, scientific and cultural influence at an international level. Its currency, the British pound sterling, is the 5th strongest in the world. Due to the rate of development and the appreciation of the currency, the country has been a financial attraction. The consequences of this has generated some negative points. According to the Financial Conduct Authority, there has been an alarming increase in the financial vulnerability of UK adults amidst the growing cost of living crisis. In a study, the public body found out that due to the widespread cost increase, 1 in 4 adults in the UK now has low financial resilience. These are people who are in financial difficulties or who could quickly find themselves in difficulties if they suffer a financial shock. Other statistics show that 39% of adults in the UK, equating to 20.3 million, do not feel confident with managing their money, whilst 11.5 million have less than £100 in their savings. Also, nearly 9 million are in serious debt, with only about a third receiving help. Do you find yourself struggling to manage your finances? Today's program will teach you how to get back on track.
Hi everybody, welcome back. This is All About You with another episode, and we are going to be talking about
how to manage your finances.
Oh, I love this one. Chris, thank you for coming back.
No worries.
This is Chris Boudrum. And the topic of today is very close to my heart. And I'll tell you why. Because we met, I was really young. I'm still young, but you know what I mean. So I was really 2 years married to my husband. I didn't know much about married life and budgeting and stuff. And I remember we met, we started working together at the church. And I noticed a few things about her. She was very resourceful and she had good ideas about things in general. So I remember we were discussing once, we wanted to go somewhere and I couldn't afford it. And then she said, maybe I should teach you a few tips on finances. And I said, okay, sure. And until today, I remember the tips and I apply them. So obviously, Chris had to be here today to talk about this.
You're a very good student now, I have to say, because you did practice things immediately. Now you're teaching others as well.
Have I become better than my master? I don't know, because I have a tip.
Yeah, she's got something here that I'm really curious. What she's...
No, this is a tip that came about when I was in Asia.
Okay, right.
Where, things are very expensive and you had to, still continue living. And it worked wonderfully.
I mean, I learned a lot of things just observing my parents. Okay. For example, they never had a credit card. So I've never had a credit card. I'm 50 and never had a credit card in my life or a store card.
You do have a credit card, remember?
Yes, well, yeah, that kind of...
We'll keep this for later.
That's a different type of credit card.
Yeah, but it is a credit card, a homemade one.
But I used to see my parents when they used to get there, back in the day, they used to get a brown envelope full of cash when they got paid. And I would see my mum, I'm separating this for food, this for the bills. And I used to see her doing that. And it just stayed with me. Yeah, that just stayed with me. Just have a little envelope for everything.
So upbringing plays a huge role on how you think. In general, but today we're talking about money, finances. And so we've got some comments. Let's go to the comments on social media.
Yes, we do.
On the streets of London, and then we will go to our tips. So what's the first one?
Okay, so this one says, the best way to manage your finances is by firstly acknowledging that the first 10% of all our income belongs to God. Before doing anything with our finances, we must acknowledge that the first 10% does not belong to us and we must give our tithe first. After this, I believe one of the best things to do is to separate our money for things we need first and then for anything we may want. So she's distinguishing between a need
from a Christian,
and a want.
So this lady is a Christian, so she's, okay. So this is important to mention because people at home may not know what it means to tithe. we'll get into
that afterwards. Yeah. And then this comment says, I think it is very possible to manage our finances in this economy. However, because the society updates every day, people always want the latest fashion, the latest gadgets, the latest phone. And I believe this can sometimes get in the way with properly managing a person's finances, as they may want to live a certain life to portray to others and they cannot truly afford it.
Okay, good point.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, a real comment right there. Especially, well, depending on where you live, right? People want to look a certain way and go certain places because that's where everyone goes. And when you go home, you have no money in your pockets. So you need to make choices. What's priority? So there's a lady here that says, the best way to manage your finances is by keeping on top of them, by evaluating the things that you want and prioritizing the things you need. Very well in theory, but do we practice that? So we're going to go into this. Right, so let's go on to the street interviews as well, and we will be back shortly after that.
What is the best way to manage your finances?
So for managing finances, I do it like month by month. So I think about what I'm going to spend for the month, like an estimate, and then what I'm earning and try and manage it that way.
Oh, it's actually quite a struggle at the moment. So I have to work out what I need, what shopping I need, and I put my money into the bank and pay my bills by direct debit. That's the only way I can do it. But I've got to work out what I want for the week and how to manage.
To keep track of your spending. Like on average, like for like a period of time, probably a week, weekly or monthly, keep track of how much you spend and weigh that against how much you earn.
So don't spend more than you earn?
Nah, that's principle, but just to keep track of your income and your finances, you have to take note of those two, your expenses and your income. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it's advised to not spend more than you make.
Well, I mean, I guess I keep track. I have a weekly spender track, or usually I used to have a bank account with a bank that actually did that, which really did help kind of manage things. So I do use that feature a lot. Or even another app, the other app that I use for my banking, it has an insights thing. So it tells you how much you're spending on groceries and you can categorize it. I always know when I'm going overboard on something or the other. So I try.
Is it possible to manage your finances well in today's economy?
I'm actually struggling because I've had an operation and I'm not able to work. It's quite difficult. Do you know what I mean? Because money obviously doesn't grow on trees and you just have to do the best you can.
It is, yeah. Like if you just, tone down your standard of living, I guess, and your means. Like, so if you're used to a certain type of lifestyle, you probably have to step below that for a period of time so that you can save an excess amount so that in the future you could probably, invest that money saved to, grow your income and stuff like that. But yeah, it's possible.
Well, as in with the lack of, I mean, I think you fall short many times. So I think there is definitely, everyone knows about the food bills going up, and groceries certainly cost a lot more than they did a little bit ago. So yeah, it is more tricky. I think the decisions are much more about, what is necessary and what is a luxury, I think, at this point.
I think it's a lot harder than what it has been previously. I do find it's difficult to not spend money when I go out. So I do find it difficult, but again, just trying to take it month by month.
What tips would you give to someone who is struggling with their finances?
Well, I'd say first thing is, do up some CVs. If you don't have a job, try to get a job. If you do have a job and you're still struggling, try to reduce your spending. So if for instance, like there are two different types of goods, but they're the same thing, and one is more expensive and you like the more expensive one, you probably have to just go with the cheaper one for now and, translate that into everything you do. So, buy the cheaper stuff for a period of time, and that money that you save, put it to good use. I mean, eat less if you have to too.
I think it's a very, very tough time, and I think I know of many people who are. I think a lot of us are actually. I think this is. My tip would be just to monitor your finances. I think, I try to do a weekly check of how's the week gone? Have I stayed on budget or not? And certainly I'll cut down on luxuries while it's a bit tough, and hopefully it'll get better.
I think tips would be try not eat out. I always take food out with me because it's so easy to, like, whenever you're hungry, to just buy food. And I think that's the main thing that can add up. And as well, I try and take the bus instead of train just because it's a little bit cheaper as well. So yeah, they're my little tips.
Well, what I would say is to work out what you've got and make a shopping list and work out what bills have to be paid and just do it in order of importance. Do you know what I mean? And it's hard for people with young kids and stuff, but just try and manage the best you can. Do you know what I mean? That's what I do. And it's working up until today.
Welcome back. And these were the comments of some people here in London. We would love to hear from you as well. If you could please leave your comments, okay? There's also an email address dedicated to this program. Remember, we want to hear from you. And also, Chris, we want to know what you do to save money, okay?
Yes.
What's your secret to never run out of what you need to survive, okay? Now, there's this comment by this gentleman on the video that I really, really liked. He seemed to be quite down to earth with his finances. He did mention he's looking for work. I pray that you get a job ASAP, okay? But he said, sometimes you have to, if you are used to a luxury, maybe you need to cut it down because your reality is different at the moment. And when you can afford it, then you go back to buying the most expensive things. So that's a very easy tip right there.
That's the thing. You just have to see what are your current circumstances, right?
Yes.
And if you can't afford something, why are you going to buy it? Just stick to what you need. We have to learn to stick, to live on what we need. There's so many things that we may want, but that those wants can lead you into debt.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you give in to peer pressure, like, oh, let's go to the West End, isn't it? Yeah. Let's go for a walk and window shopping. Listen, if you are a woman, you are not just going to do window shopping. Okay?
It's so boring. Why are you going to window shop?
Stay at home. But the thing is, you always buy something. And it's always like this. Oh, only today. I'll pay it next week. And then this becomes a year, 2 years. And then you end up with so many debts that you become depressed. Actually clinically depressed, and some people even take their lives.
I know, it's terrible.
So we'll talk about this more serious side of debts afterwards. Any other comment?
There was a lady as well that was saying that she takes her own food. Like, for example, when you buy coffee outside or tea or whatever, snacks, they can be really, really expensive. So it's so simple to make something. For example, I came from outside London today. I've got sandwich in my bag. I've got little snacks. I've got my water. I brought everything from
in the
home.
Train going home.
That's it. So you can save a lot of money, and even you have your food flasks, right? That you can heat up your food before you leave home, and that will stay hot throughout the day. You can have that at work. So there are so many. And you have healthier things as well. So you can really save money. So that was a good tip that she gave.
My goodness, I tell you something. I was telling Chris before we started recording this funny episode where I went to a shopping center. I had to go to the pharmacy. It was the only one open at the time. So I was hungry. So I thought, okay, let me just have like a mocha, which is a mix of hot chocolate and coffee. But then the thing is, I'm very homely. I don't usually go out for a coffee only. And then when the lady told me the price, £3.50, I was like, what? And then she said, anything else to eat? I said, no, not at this price. Could I afford it? Yes, I could, but
daylight robbery, right?
I said, no, my dear, this will do. I'm going home now. So. And it's funny, and I was on my way home, I was thinking, have I been in the house for that long that I didn't notice the prices?
Things are quite expensive.
So you buy your own milk. You have, nowadays people can easily buy a frother, a milk frother, if that's how you say in English, the one that makes frother. And you can make your own coffee and, buy those travel mugs, and guess what? Super cheap. So I mean, no, thank you, no food. Anyways, so Chris, we have tips to share with the people today. But is there a tip of your own that you would like to share before we start?
Can I give my credit card tips?
Yes, please.
I'll give my credit card tip because, like I said earlier, I've never owned a credit card or a store card. Oh, by the way, just as a side thing, don't let shops pressure you into getting a store card.
Yeah, say
because
no.
I was at a
thanks.
till once buying something, and this lady was really insisting, but get a store card, you can save 10%, you can do it. And it's a store card is actually in effect like a credit card.
It
right?
is.
And you have to,
With
so I
a
was like,
huge
no, thank
interest
you.
rate.
I was like, are you sure? I said, no, thank you, I don't want one. And then she actually gave it to me, and I said, no, thank you, I don't want one. She was really trying to.
They get paid to do that.
It's too much. So I've never had a store card. So what do I do? What I advise you to do?
Yeah.
You can you can make your own credit card. All right. So you put aside.
Open a side where you need to be specific for those who are younger and think.
Yeah. You can open up another account.
Yeah, like a savings account.
Yeah, like a savings, but it's not like a savings. It's an account that you can actually get into.
Okay.
Put some money aside every month. And you've got, when on a rainy day, when you need to buy something unexpected comes up, or you need to go out with a friend.
Or on an emotional day.
Yes. You've got the money there. And then when it goes below a certain limit, then you top it up again. So you've always got something there. Yeah. For example, I don't buy anything that I can't afford to buy outright. Mm-hmm. So if I need to get a phone, for example, or a laptop, I will save for it. And even if it takes long to do, I'll wait. Yeah. And then I'll buy it outright. I don't like to
contract.
And
like
I have to, like my phone as well is not. I saved up for a long time and then I got it.
I learned that as well from Chris Boudram. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Oh my goodness! So the credit card. Yeah, but I remember you telling me, Elena, every time you use, even if it's £10, put it back.
Yeah.
But
you have to be disciplined with it. But it's so good. You're just free of any debts. You're not going to get any letters, any emails to say you owe this much and the interest has gone up and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to worry about that.
I don't know if you remember why you gave me that tip of the credit card. Because at that time, I had a credit card. Because back in the day, this was in 2002, when you open a bank account, a week later, you get in your letterbox a credit card. No questions asked. With a huge limit. And I was like, oh, this is good. I can go out shopping and buy whatever. Yeah. But, and I remember that I couldn't get rid of that credit card bill. And when I finally did, obviously, we became friends and she started giving me tips. At the beginning, you didn't know I had a credit card. But you just noticed that I never had money to go out for a coffee. But then I was a terrible administrator. But anyway, I remember that after I paid it all, because you taught me how to save and everything, then I realized that I paid that bill like 2 times or 3 times because of all the interest rates. Yeah. From that moment on, I was like, never again will the bank get me. Obviously, if you're buying a house or you need to buy furniture and it's something that it's your home, you will live there for many, many years. It's an investment, it's different. But even furniture, be careful. Yeah. Right? Just a mortgage, isn't it?
Actually, when I moved into my house, my first house, we were on the floor. We didn't even have a sofa.
But this is how you grew up,
you see? Yeah.
You grew up with this thing. No, you pay. If you have money, you buy. If you don't have money, you wait. I didn't grow up like this. So this is excellent tip. Now, a tip from me.
Oh, yes.
All right. So we've got here a lovely calendar. December 2023. It could be any other month, obviously, but because we are in November, the next month will be December. So what is something that I like to do? I'm not doing this at the moment because I'm not, I've already gotten into the routine, so I don't need to write it down anymore. But I've done this for many years. So I print this out. A week before the new month begins, I will sit down and work out the days that I don't eat at home. And then I'll put a cross. I don't eat at home these days. The days that I'm going to eat at home and what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to cook. So obviously, I have my routine. I live in London for a while now, so I know exactly what my routine looks like. So I am able to do this. So after I do my menu, shall we call it, I write my menu, then I'll do a shopping list of this menu. So I will know that I'll need these many chicken drumsticks, these many chicken breasts, these many cartons of milk or whatever. And when I go shopping, I only buy what I need. And I will be left with money to eat out on the days that I need to buy something on the go. So this works for me very, very well. Why? Because, I don't know if this, Chris is the holiness of finances here, so I don't think she's used to do that. But my thing was, and this is what I saw growing up, you see how this impacts you as a person when you grow up. Just go to the shopping, just go to the supermarket and go from one aisle to another aisle and just look at everything and think, oh, maybe I'll need this, maybe I'll eat this pasta, maybe I'll eat this rice. And then at the end of the month, I would be left with lots of things in my cupboards because actually I had to eat out many times because I'm traveling or whatever. And then I would be out of pocket because I left it all at the supermarket and I don't know what to do with the ingredients I have at home. So this is something that I really practiced and it really, really helped me because I was very, not an impulse buyer, but almost at the supermarket. I would literally go through aisle to aisle and go like, oh, how many cartons of milk do I need? Or maybe I wouldn't even calculate how many weeks I have left until the end of the month. So I have money left to do other things.
So planning is key.
Yeah,
it really
and
is.
you know what? You wake up in the morning, if you cook, you will understand what I mean. Men have no idea unless they cook. But one of my main problems was, creativity in the kitchen. I wake up in the morning, oh, what am I going to cook? And I would spend like an hour thinking and then just procrastinating and then I would be late, running late. When I wake up, I have this glued to my fridge. I know exactly what I'm going to make that day. And I defrost it the night before.
Yeah.
And something else I invested in was a small freezer. You know those freezers that you open, how do you call those freezers? It's not like a fridge. It's like the square
it's like
ones.
the chest ones.
Yes. And then I would freeze everything, like even bread.
Yeah,
you taught me that as well. You put it straight in the toaster. It's so nice and crispy. So saved a lot of money and still do.
Yeah,
okay.
That's good.
And I always have something in my pocket to buy a coffee when I'm out and about. Because
not at £3, whatever.
No, even if I have it, I said no. So here is my tip. Okay,
yes,
it really, really works. So remember, do a shopping list based on your menu. Calculate. It may take like a few hours, but it's so worth it. You already know in your family how much you eat, so there's no waste of food, there's no waste of time and waste of money.
Yeah.
Okay?
Nice.
So let's go to our tips of today.
Okay.
You go first.
So the first one is you need to know your expenses.
Right.
So you need to know what is coming in and what is going out. For example, how much do you spend on food, on clothes, etc.? And what are your fixed expenses? I mean, it's amazing sometimes how so many people do not know what they're spending. They have no idea what they're spending. So you need to know what are your expenses? What are the fixed things? And with those fixed things, are you able to cut back at all? So for example, is there a subscription that you don't need anymore?
Yeah.
Go regularly to your bank account to check what's coming out. I do this regularly. There's nothing that will come out of my account that I won't know about.
See?
Yeah, and then maybe you've got a subscription for maybe a gym or something like a magazine subscription you're not using anymore. Cut all those. See if you can.
Or, sorry to interrupt you, like I used to have the phone people back in the day, because I don't have a contract anymore, save up and buy the phone up front. They used to say, oh, would you like some insurance, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yes, sure. So but then I found out, because that's the thing, people don't read the small print. If you buy your phone with, if you buy your phone with your I don't know which bank you have, but the one I have, they give me protection over my gadgets.
Yeah. So you don't need the
for
extra
£5 a month. But the phone shop was charging me like 15 or 19. So you need to read the small print.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it? So, yeah.
So know exactly what's going out and then see how much you earn. So if you see that it's not matching, that you're spending more on bills, on fixed things more than what you're earning, you need to make an adjustment there. So is it that you need to like I said, cut certain things that you don't need, subscriptions or those kind of things? Do you need to look for another job or somehow get more income coming in? You'd have to know, because if you don't know, that's the first way that you're going to go wrong.
But there's a problem with this. Many people don't want to know.
Well, yeah.
Living
in denial is not going to...
Yeah. Many people don't want to know. Many people don't want to open the post that comes through the letterbox, because it's a snowball. So maybe this is a good time for you to put it all on the table. Open all the letters you've been avoiding and deal with them. If anything, call those people and tell them you can't afford, if they can make you a deal, and maybe they will just write it off. I've heard stories like this.
I think a person feels better when they actually start doing something about the problem. Because when you know there's a problem, but you're not dealing with it, you get anxious, you get depressed, you have so many things going on in your head, you can't sleep. But when you actually start, even if you haven't actively seen any changes yet, but the fact that you are actually making some kind of plan to solve that problem, already you're going to feel better.
Absolutely.
Already you're going to be more positive. So it's better to face something than just to leave it.
And you feel like you've done something, you've achieved something.
Yeah, you're on your way to the solution, even if it's not there yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, number 2, create a budget. Like I said with my tip there, have a budget. When you get paid, have budgets. Set aside what you need to, if you are a man, for your haircut, and also a woman, even though it's more expensive. But maybe you have a friend who cuts hair. Nowadays I'm horrified. Listen, this episode could go on for like
it's true.
Part 1, 2, 3. I went to the salon the other day just to cover my wet hair. And the woman, would you like to blow dry your hair? And I said, no, thanks. For £52 just to blow dry. So I put on I know I sound really cheap.
I do that.
But I refuse to pay £52 for someone to hold the hair dry and brush my hair.
There's nothing wrong with a wet cut.
No.
You just leave it. Don't dry it. Just leave it.
My woolly hat. Went home. By the way, I did. And by the way, how many women out there? You let me know in the comments. You do your blow dry at the salon and you hate it because blow drying your hair, it's a personal thing, and you pay £52. And the woman kept on insisting. I said, "No, I'm fine, thank you." So you need to adjust. Like I said, create a budget. Shop around. Know where your money is going. Right. Third one, Chris, what's the third point?
Spend less than what you earn, which we touched on already. Sounds easy but hard to do, it says here. We live in a culture of constant advertising bombardment, and our culture sows discontentment. We're taught that we can and should buy what we want, when we want, regardless of the consequences. Yeah. So there are these marketing experts, sorry if you're a marketing expert, but they are paid to make people... My
sister graduated on that, so... She used to tell me all the
They are paid. Their job is to persuade people to buy things that they do not need. That's their job.
Excellent. We should even do a quote on what you just said.
Yeah, because that's their job. Obviously, if you need something, fine. You need a new pair of trousers or whatever, okay. But there's certain things that we do not need. And these adverts make it seem like unless you get this thing, you're going to be unhappy. So if you are tempted like that, don't watch these adverts.
Instagram is one of the villains. Be careful with Instagram, because ladies like images, and gentlemen as well. Images, they fill your eyes, right, Chris? Yeah. Oh, the new trend, the new this. You already have like 6 coats in your wardrobe, but now you need this one because, now it's very in. No, it's not.
It's a slightly different color to what you have already, but it's just going to make your eyes pop.
Yeah.
For example.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. They say your
Yeah.
eyes will pop, your skin tone will. My friend, run away. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I unsubscribe from all these.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Very dangerous. Another
So
one.
don't fall for the tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one, number 4. Avoid getting into debt unless it's obviously you're buying a car, you're buying a house, then you are investing, you're not spending. Know the difference, okay? And be careful with who your friends are. Maybe they are very nice people, but they have this thing, they have this culture of every weekend, the girls have to go out, shopping center or for an afternoon tea. But you're trying to save up. And look at this. Look at the beauty of saving. You lose weight. No, seriously. The other day, and you know this, she likes to go for an afternoon tea. But we always find vouchers, don't we?
Yes.
Maybe we'll leave this tip for another day. Who knows? And I was thinking, my gosh, someone the other day said, oh, we should go and have some afternoon tea and all that. But then I'm thinking, yeah, okay, we split it in half, no problem. But then the calories.
Yeah.
The calories. I'm thinking, no, not at my age. No, thank you. Diabetes type 2. So even that, you are doing good to yourself. Because if you eat out all the time, if you go out, maybe you are not a Christian and you like to go for drinks, what is this doing to your liver? And maybe, like someone said on one of the interviews we recorded on the streets, someone said, oh, but that's where you find people to socialize, sometimes in places that are not healthy. It's true, but how about you joining the church, your community, a community project, a food bank, something like that will enable you to socialize with people without ruining your liver, your health. So saving money actually...
And doing good.
Yes.
It's true.
Well, I could go on forever. So what's the 5th one?
Okay. Don't waste what you have. I love this one. Are you spending too much on food? Are you wasting electricity? You can cut costs by learning to manage what you already have. So just 2 things I'd like to speak about here. I remember I lived with someone once. I was sharing a flat with someone. We would do our shopping list, whatever. And then she would say, we need this and we need that. I said, no, we don't. We've got it in the cupboard already. And I was trying to and in the end she came around, I taught her, look, you need to know what you've already got in the house, because she wanted to buy this cleaning product and that cleaning product and this food. And I said, but we have it already. Go and have a look in the cupboard. Yeah. So what you can do an inventory.
The packet is not full, but there's still some left.
Yeah, but there's an extra one as well in the other cupboard. So see what you have already in the house before you go out and buy more. Just have a check, look in the cupboards, look at the back. You'll be surprised how much stuff you have.
Yeah.
And with
be creative.
Be creative. I don't waste anything. I don't waste food at all. So for example, I had a jacket potato left over from a meal that I had before. What can you do with that? I will cut it up and put it in an omelette.
Oh, okay.
Or do a potato salad with it or something. Yeah. So you look at what you have in the fridge. You can even look up online things to make with leftover, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. You'll be amazed. You can do a whole new meal. So don't waste what you have in the fridge, because, food is very expensive.
I remember something once I went for lunch in at your house, and I said, do you have any coriander left? And she said, oh, have a look in the fridge. And I saw this...
Don't embarrass me, Elena.
It wasn't old or dry, but it's coming to the end of life, this bunch of... But something I've learned?
You can put it in food.
No, the how do you call the bits at the end? They are very flavorsome.
Yeah, that's what,
Not just the lids. And I was like, oh, I'm going to start freezing those.
Yeah, they're great.
Cut them into pieces.
That's where the most flavor is, actually.
And I was like, oh, interesting. So she said, oh, let's see what we can salvage. Because we were lazy to go to the shop. And it worked.
We used to do these little challenges, do you remember, about what can we make with what we have? Things like that. So yeah, it's good. It's fun.
It's fun. And you save money and you learn a great deal. You appreciate what you have. And you have more money in your pocket.
And don't forget, winter. We're in winter now. the heating bills obviously high and everything.
Yeah.
So see, where can you save with that? Can you not get, like, for example, a hot water bottle to put in the bed with you to keep you warm?
Yeah.
Instead of having the heating on, there's make sure windows are closed, make sure, there's so many things that you don't have to have the heating blaring the whole day. Switch it off when you go out. You don't have to leave it on. So there's just so many things, so many things that you can do to
actually
save
like
money.
it, right? You really find it exciting, the whole thing of saving. Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, but I learned from you, so I'm very grateful. Number 6, set specific and realistic saving goals. Okay? Don't go like sometimes we do January. No, from now on, I'm going to save these many £100 every month, and then it's not realistic. Don't underestimate the power of £20.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't underestimate. Those £20 is what? 3 trips to the coffee shop or 2? Let's say 2. At the end of the year, what can you do with that? How many times do you go to the coffee shop? So don't underestimate £5. Because, when I look at my bank statement from time to time, where the money goes is small expenses. It's a little here, a little there. Mm-hmm. Oh, we traveled the motorway. Oh, a long trip. Oh, can we stop and buy again the coffee shop? I'm telling you, these coffee shops are sucking all the money out of it. But small expenses. So small goals will get you further, if I can say so. 7th.
Save wisely. It is wise to set money aside for a rainy day and not spend everything we have as soon as it comes into our hand. Let's face it, people get really excited when it's payday, right? Yeah. And it's like, because they've got this, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. Calm down, just wait. What I do personally,
you get adverts, payday, special price.
Yeah.
To make you spend your money. Look at that.
You have to be calm when when you get your money. What I do personally, I pray when I receive, anything, and I say, God, show me how to spend this wisely. I don't want to spend money on things that I don't need. Just the things that are really necessary.
Yeah.
So don't rush. Just make sure you have, like we've spoken about already. You have a plan. You have, like we said, the imaginary credit card, or you have money set aside. Don't rush to get things that you don't need. Always, what I do as well, when I need something, I just make a note of it. I've got a note on my phone. Okay, I need like a black pair of trousers, for example. I've got it there. I'm not going to buy it immediately if I don't have the cash, but I know there's a list there. When I get round to it, when I have enough, then I'll go and buy that thing. But I'm not going to just rush and spend everything, because remember, you've got the whole month to go, or the whole 2 weeks. This is very
important. There are people, everyone is different. Everyone has their own style of shopping. But sometimes I hear this thing, and I'm very inquisitive in that aspect. I like to see, is this really what they say? So I have these people saying to me, oh no, you need to go to this shop, which I'm not going to mention the name, but they sell in large quantities.
Okay.
Okay. You go there and you buy in bulk. All right. You should know the name. And no, it's very good. You go there. As soon as I came back from Asia, and I said, no, if you buy there, you save time. And I'm thinking, all right. Is time more important for me than the money I will save? That's a choice I had to make right there and then. Because if I have plenty of money, then sure, I don't mind about the money. I mind about the time. So yeah, let's go and buy in bulk, even though I don't need half of it. But I was calculating. I like to buy fish. So I thought, let me see how much. I went to the shop. They sell in bulk. And I said, let me just see. And then I looked at the kilo, the price per kilo. It was so much more expensive than the one I buy.
You see.
2 in a packet that looks expensive. It was so much cheaper. And I said, no, thanks. That's not for me. So we have this thing,
there are those fans, right?
Yeah, those fans. And I said, not for me, no. I like to buy as I go.
Yeah, me too.
Like I said, I do my list. I know what I'm cooking. And we stick with it. And we don't buy anything until the freezer is empty.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to waste anything.
It's funny, I had this conversation with someone about this very same thing the
This is
other
like
day.
politics and people get offended.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's great to go to this. I said, but hang on a minute. How much do you, and I did the same thing. I started calculating. I said, it's going to cost you more in petrol to get there than what you save by shopping there. So it's like at the time that you're there
careful.
and stuck in a big queue and all these cars are there. And I was like, I don't like these places. I just don't do it. No.
Yeah, and you end up buying things you never thought you would need. I mean, you never thought you would buy, and things that you don't really need. So do your shopping list. Your life is your life. Only you know what you need. Your reality is yours. Someone else can afford, good for them, good on them, but you need to know your priorities. Maybe you can afford going to a better supermarket, but you are saving up to pay off, you know, or to put together a deposit for a house you want to buy. Don't expect people to encourage you. No, usually people are very emotional about money. Actually,
that's a very good point. Yeah.
Actually, myself and my husband, we hold these weekly seminars called the Love Therapy. And did you know that the main reason for divorce is not incompatibility, sexual incompatibility? No, because God made things, you know, to fit. But it's money. Money gets people divorced, mostly. It's money, the way you view money, the way you see money, the way you use money. That's what makes people get divorced. Look how this topic is important. Right, before we go into our most important tip of today, the one that will make a difference more than all the ones you've heard, let's have a look at this video.
It is a fixed law of life. You sow, then you reap. Everyone knows that the fruit only comes from a seed. The Word of God has more than 8,000 promises, but none of them happen naturally. God's blessings are a result of a seed that we sow daily, which makes it possible for each of us to enjoy the best of Him. This seed is called obedience to His word. Those who obey God and put Him first show in practice the true honor and consideration that He seeks. Therefore, their life is a materialization of His promised blessings.
Become faithful to God. Now, maybe for you this is very new. Faithful to God, okay. Again, like I always say, maybe you're not a Christian, but hear me out. Try it. In the Bible, we learn to be faithful to God, to have a partnership with God. He's our backup. I remember, so going back to the being faithful, there's something in the Bible called tithing. Learn to tithe. Tithe is from your income and everything that comes to your hands, you return to the altar 10%. For me, from when I was young, the way I used to remember it when I learned about this is I have 10 fingers. God blesses the work of my hands. So I return the 10th of what comes to my hands. So when I look at my hands, I will never forget that what comes to my hands is God-given. Because how many people have money, but they have nothing to show for? How many times you have money, but things break down in your home, you lose things, you break your phone all the time, you are never okay, there's always a problem. Someone is always ill and you need to help pay. You never have money, although you have money. So when you are faithful to God, you get this protection from Him. And you can do with 90% more than you would with 100. This has been proven. We have lots and lots of real stories in the church about tithing. And we would like to offer today, if you would like, you can get one of these booklets. It's free. It's called Tithe, the First Fruits, Because in the biblical times, when the harvest would come, they would harvest the fruits of the land and they would give to God the very first fruits that they harvest, the best ones. And we live by this until today. It's biblical. And here you have lots of questions and answers, especially for you who you are not a Christian and you don't know anything about this. You can get your hands on one of these at any of our branches, okay? Our website will be on the screen. You can check which address is closest to you. You can get in touch, right, Chris, via our WhatsApp, which the details are there as well, and ask questions. So this is my main secret. Yes, we've learned a lot of tips, but if you don't have God's protection, forget it. And I dare you to try. To try. You know, you may have a lot of things, but maybe you've lost a deal, a very important deal. How many times people go into partnerships and they lose the investment?
That's true.
They lose an investment, or it was all a lie. The investment was a lie, was a scheme. Somehow, when you are faithful to God, He gives you wisdom. He gives you wisdom that people who don't know you may think you have a degree in economy, but you don't. You have the wisdom of God in you because you put God first.
Maybe Lena, there's people even that might say, but I have money, for example. Like you said, they have
like
money.
you were saying before the recording.
But for example, okay, maybe you have money, but you're constantly worried about your money.
Yeah,
even though you're not afraid, you're afraid. You know, you're depressed, you're anxious. So even though you might have, but you are, it's doing you harm.
Yeah.
Because you're not in this partnership with God. When you give your first fruit, when you give your tithe, you have this peace because you know that, you know, God is in control of everything and He's going to show you what to do. He's going to give you wisdom, like you said. He's going to show you and you don't have to worry. And if you do lose something, it's because something better is coming and you have that confidence and you have that boldness to go ahead and do things.
Sometimes God allows you to lose a job so that you can come out of your comfort zone and see that there's better out there for you. This is very powerful. And the thing is, with being a tither, is that you, like I said, you have the wisdom. God gives you ideas, creativity. But just to mention, to give tithe is not just to write a check for 10% every month. You have to be careful to do it before you spend it on anything else, because the 10% is holy to the Lord. So we don't just give 10% after we pay our bills. We give it before we spend it on. So we are careful that we have no direct debits before we have time to separate our tithe. So this is very, very special, very spiritual, and it really, really protects you.
It does.
And you know, Chris, just to finalize, nowadays you hear a lot, the cost of living is going up. And you see people even taking their own lives because they are so into debt. What am I going to do? How am I going to cope? When you are faithful to God, then He gives you peace. He gives you a way out. He gives you an idea. You know, He shows you your talents. And maybe you start a new business, even from home. Things change. It's really, really very, very powerful. So have a look if you would like, you know where to get one. Chris, anything else you want to say before we go?
Well, there was an extra tip here that I can share as well.
All
I don't know
right.
if we've got time to go into it, but it's saying here that if you're married, to combine your finances. Maybe this is a topic for another day. We can go into it more, but basically, you know, there shouldn't be separation with your finances. It should all be together because, you know, when you're married, you become one. So if you're having separate bank accounts, not a good thing.
That's not a good start to the
not a good
relationship.
start, but
Yeah,
I don't know if we have time to go into
There's a
it.
Bible verse we want to read as well.
Yes, of course.
Can you read the first one?
So this is Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty.
So look at how the Bible is so current and so clear. Look at this. The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty. A person who is diligent means she's disciplined. She's got targets. She knows what she's doing. She plans. The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty, surely to poverty. You see, to be hasty is a problem. It's to live by emotion. Whatever the heart tells you, isn't that what they say?
Yeah.
Hollywood, no, it's Christmas time. It's Christmas. It's, a time for you to enjoy. Right. Then in January, you are covered in debts and you want to end your life because you've got your debts from Christmas plus whatever, plus whatever, plus whatever. Listen, do not be hasty. Christmas is just a holiday. It's just a holiday. If you have this thing, I don't know about you, Chris, but this tradition of buying gifts, if you can, good. But if you can't, have a nice meal.
That's the thing. I think you need to be honest and open with your friends and family.
Yeah.
And probably what you'll find is that if you suggest to your family, look, do you know what?
They'll be
mind
relieved.
if we don't? Yeah, exactly.
They'll be relieved.
Can we not do presents this year? They will love it because maybe they're in the same situation.
Let's pay our debts.
Be honest. Be honest instead of then having to live with the consequences later.
This is a huge trap, Christmas. There's another verse. It says, honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first fruits of all your increase. It's in Proverbs 3:9. So there you have it. Yes. The secret to prosperity, to safety. Even though the prices are going up, even though you see so many things happening out there, although shopping centers are not empty.
That's the emotional spending that you're talking
Although
about.
restaurants are super packed, but don't tell anybody, but the price of living is going up. But you will not despair because God is with you. All right? That's all we have time for today.
Yes, that's good.
Right? If you have any questions, you know where to leave your comments and email us. We'll see you next time. Thank you for coming, Chris.
You're welcome.
All right.
It was great.
Bye-bye.
See you.
I've been living this better life for about 23 years now, and this is since I've started attending the Universal Church. Faith is the foundation of the way my life is right now. Today, my life is fulfilled. Life now is good. I'm happily married. I've been married now for 17 years. I'm a pharmacist. I've been a pharmacist for more than 25 years now, and I've seen progression in my career. I've got a business as a makeup artist, and I'm seeing that grow. And I've got this confidence, and I'm happy inside. I've been living this better life for about 23 years now, and this is since I've started attending the Universal Church. Faith is the foundation of the way my life is right now. Before I started attending the Universal Church, my life was a mess. I came with a destroyed love life. I was married, but living an adulterous life. My daughter was a year and a half then, so my life was a mess. My career was a mess. Inside, I was totally empty. I was stuck in a role I think I was stuck for about 12 years. I didn't have any ambition or vision of how to progress. Even though I was earning money, I was always dipping into my overdraft. I was living in a rented accommodation, didn't have a vision of having my own place, my own property. I remember the first day I attended the Universal Church. I liked the service, it was different, it was full of energy. Because of the peace I felt inside, I went back. The first day was a Sunday afternoon because it was a miracle service. So I kept going. And I went back on I think the following week, and I just felt this difference inside of me, this peace, this joy. And then I started having a sense of direction on what to do. Even though I was obviously still full of my issues, my problems, but I was learning ways on how to overcome them. I spoke to the assistant, and she advised me on the services that would help with my needs. And it was Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, I was going, and then I started fighting for my deliverance because obviously I was living a wrong life then. And because I then heard the message, you seek first the kingdom of God and every other thing follows. So I then concentrated on knowing God. I started noticing the result actually from the first day because something happened inside of me that wanted me to go back. And then, you know, when you start getting clarity of what is going on in your life, and you're thinking, you know, the pastor is saying something that is happening to me. I haven't spoken to him. How does he know this? So that's when I started, you know, learning about tithing as well, which was a struggle for me because I'm thinking, I haven't got that much money. But when they explain the meaning of tithing, it's not about giving money. It's about putting God first. And when I started doing that, I started seeing changes, first of all, in my financial life. So I started having the boldness, the courage to apply for another role. And I got the role, you know, my income started, you know, increasing, and I was now being comfortable to actually go and buy my own property. Today, my understanding of offering is different. I see it as, it's my life really. Even now, I don't even return 10%. I return, obviously, my first 10%, and I give 10% on top as my offering every month. Over time, I've invested in my spiritual life. I've been raised as an assistant, and I always say to God, who have you got for me here to introduce you to them? My life is not just for myself, it's for what God wants to use me for. When I look at my life today, before I came to the Universal Church, I couldn't even imagine where I am today, because then I was lost. And if I'd carried on, I probably would have been dead. Today, my life is fulfilled. But the most important thing is I've got the Holy Spirit. I have the assurance of my salvation, and I've conquered a lot of stuff through my faith. My marriage is 17 years now. We've got our property, got my business. I've got my own hair product as well that I sell. This is all through the power of faith.
Now you can also send your comments and questions to our WhatsApp number. You can then participate in the All About You program easily and quickly. Just add the following number to your phone book: 020-7686-6010. All About You on WhatsApp, another way to get in touch with a woman like you.